Did you make Kate cry?
No, the reverse happened.
In the spring of 2018, the world was preparing for one of the most anticipated royal events in recent history, the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. But behind the royal fanfare and the picture-perfect headlines, something far more human was unfolding, an emotional misunderstanding that would, in time, become one of the most controversial and talked about royal stories of the decade. The incident in question involved Meghan Markle, then the Duchess-to-be, and Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, known to millions as Kate Middleton. What began as a minor disagreement over Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress soon evolved into a full-blown media narrative that portrayed Meghan as the villain of the royal family. The story that Meghan made Kate cry became a powerful tabloid headline, repeated endlessly by newspapers and television outlets across the globe. It was a claim that painted Meghan as cold, controlling, and cruel, a stark contrast to the public image of Kate as calm, gentle, and regal.
She has now got the whole of America, and the worst of the world, frankly, looking upon the palace, the monarchy, as a bunch of racists.
It made me cry, and it really hurt my feelings. And I thought, in the context of everything else that was going on in those days leading to the wedding, that it didn't make sense to not be just doing what everyone else was doing, which was trying to be supportive, knowing what was going on with my dad and whatnot. It was a really hard week of the wedding, and she was upset about something, but she owned it, and she apologized, and she brought me flowers and a note apologizing. What was hard to get over was being blamed for something that not only I didn't do, but that happened to me, and the people who were part of our wedding going to our comms team and saying, I know this didn't happen. I think it's really important for people to understand the truth. I would hope that she would have wanted that corrected, and maybe in the same way that the palace wouldn't let anybody else negate it, they wouldn't let her, because she's a good person. And I think so much of what I have seen play out is this idea of polarity, where if you love me, you don't have to hate her. And if you love her, you don't need to hate me.
However, as later interviews and first-hand accounts revealed, the truth was far more complex. According to multiple royal insiders, both women were under immense pressure in the days leading to the royal wedding. Emotions ran high, and small misunderstandings were magnified by the relentless scrutiny surrounding the event. The disagreement, reportedly over the fit and design of Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress, became the spark that ignited an emotional reaction on both sides. Years later, when Meghan sat down with Oprah Winfrey in 2021, she sought to set the record straight, but her revelation only deepened public curiosity. The story was no longer about a single argument. It was about how the royal institution, the media, and public perception shaped a deeply personal moment between two women. As we revisit this incident with the benefit of new information from royal staffers, Prince Harry's memoir Spare, and reports from Tom Quinn's Yes, Ma'am, The Secret Life of Royal Servants, we uncover not a tale of rivalry, but a reminder that even behind palace walls, human emotion prevails. Before we go deeper into what really happened between Meghan and Kate, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future royal insights and truth-revealing reports. When Meghan Markle finally broke her silence during her interview with Oprah Winfrey, the world listened closely. For the first time, Meghan spoke directly about the story that had haunted her public image since 2018. In a calm but emotional tone, she explained that the truth was the reverse of what had been reported. During the hectic final days before her wedding, Meghan revealed that Kate had actually made her cry, not out of malice, but because of the tension surrounding the bridesmaid dresses. It made me cry, and it really hurt my feelings, Meghan told Oprah, explaining that the days leading up to the ceremony were already stressful because of family issues involving her father. According to Meghan, Kate later owned up to her actions, apologized sincerely, and even brought her flowers and a handwritten note. Meghan emphasized that she forgave Kate and didn't share the story to attack her character. Rather, what truly hurt her was that the royal institution allowed the false version of events, that she had made Kate cry, to spread unchecked. Meghan said she expected palace officials to correct the record, especially since people who attended the wedding knew the truth. But that correction never came. What was hard to get over, she said, was being blamed for something I didn't do, but that happened to me. This feeling of being silenced became a central theme in her experience within the royal family. Royal expert Katie Nicholl later explained that Meghan had wanted to do interviews earlier but was repeatedly told she wasn't allowed. Her public social media accounts were closed and every communication had to go through palace channels. For Meghan, this loss of control over her voice, coupled with media hostility, was devastating. Despite her efforts to remain dignified, she felt isolated and unheard. And yet, even in that moment with Oprah, she showed compassion toward Kate, calling her a good person who likely wasn't permitted to clarify the misunderstanding either. Meghan's honesty humanized her experience, but it also reopened old wounds in the public eye, reigniting debates about truth, loyalty, and the limits of royal protocol. What do you think about Meghan's revelation? Do you believe the palace should have defended her when the truth surfaced? Tell us your thoughts about this moment in the comments below. In his 2023 memoir Spare, Prince Harry offered an inside look at what truly unfolded behind closed doors. He described the days before the wedding as a whirlwind of stress and family tension. According to Harry, the disagreement between Meghan and Kate began over text messages concerning Princess Charlotte's dress. Kate reportedly messaged Meghan 4 days before the wedding, expressing frustration that the dress was too big, too long, too baggy, and that little Charlotte had cried when trying it on. Meghan replied politely, reminding Kate that a tailor had been waiting since early morning at Kensington Palace to make alterations, just as the other mothers were doing for their daughters. However, Kate insisted that the dresses need to be remade. Meghan, already overwhelmed, responded with practicality, asking Kate to simply take Charlotte to the tailor. The exchange ended curtly with a single word from Kate: "Fine." But according to Harry, the damage had been done. When he returned home later that day, he found Meghan crying on the kitchen floor. The stress of the upcoming wedding, combined with family drama and relentless media pressure, had become unbearable. A few days later, Kate visited their home, apologized, and brought flowers, a gesture Meghan accepted graciously. While Meghan and Kate eventually moved on, the story itself did not. Once the tabloids discovered fragments of the disagreement, they crafted their own exaggerated version, transforming a simple misunderstanding into a royal feud. Harry expressed frustration that palace officials refused to set the record straight, even though several witnesses knew what truly happened. He saw it as part of a larger pattern, the institution's tendency to protect certain family members, while allowing false narratives about others to persist. This incident, small in scale but enormous in impact, marked the beginning of deeper fractures within the royal family. It illustrated how easily personal emotions could be manipulated by the press, and how the lack of open communication within the palace only fueled division. As Harry and Meghan distanced themselves from royal duties, the bridesmaid dress story remained a symbolic reminder of everything they felt was wrong with the system: silence, hierarchy, and a media machine that thrived on conflict. What's your opinion on Prince Harry's side of the story? Do these text exchanges change how you see the incident between Meghan and Kate? Share your insights in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. Years later, a new version of the story emerged, this time from a royal staffer quoted in Tom Quinn's book, Yes, Ma'am, The Secret Life of Royal Servants. The insider revealed that both Meghan and Kate were deeply emotional during the dress discussions, and both ended up in tears. All the papers got it wrong, the staffer said. During the discussions about Charlotte's bridesmaid dress, Meghan said a few things she regretted, and Kate said a few things she regretted, but it was all in the heat of the moment. Both women were crying their eyes out. This new account painted a much more balanced picture, one that reflected human vulnerability rather than royal rivalry. The disagreement, according to those present, was not malicious or calculated. It was a brief emotional clash between two women facing extraordinary stress and public scrutiny. Unfortunately, that nuance was lost once the story reached the media, which preferred the simplicity of a hero versus villain narrative. Over time, this moment came to represent the larger pressures facing both women: Meghan, the outsider struggling to find acceptance, and Kate, the future queen managing her own expectations and responsibilities. Royal commentators have since acknowledged that the media's portrayal of Meghan as the aggressor was unfairly exaggerated, just as Kate's role in the misunderstanding was oversimplified. Both women, in truth, were victims of a system that thrives on contrast and conflict. And while their relationship may never have been as close as the public once hoped, both appear to have handled the fallout with dignity and restraint. The bridesmaid dress incident reminds us that even within the most glamorous institutions, moments of emotion and imperfection exist, but they don't have to define the people involved. As for Meghan and Kate, time and distance may have softened the pain of that week, but the lessons remain clear. Honesty, empathy, and understanding are more powerful than headlines. And perhaps, if anything good came from the saga, it's the reminder that both women were human beings under pressure, doing their best in impossible circumstances. Now that we've seen every side of this story, Meghan's, Kate's, Harry's, and the insiders, What do you think really happened? Were both women victims of circumstance, or was one more at fault than the other? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Kate's composure and Meghan's courage reflect two sides of the same royal coin, one bound by duty, the other by independence. Perhaps their stories are not of rivalry, but of two women navigating impossible expectations under the world's brightest spotlight. As the future of the monarchy unfolds, the legacy of both duchesses will continue to shape it. Which path do you believe defines the crown's future? Tradition or change? Tell us your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories from inside the royal circle. Some critics say the narrative is beginning to overshadow the game itself. So, is this just another media frenzy, or does it reveal a deeper shift in how sports and entertainment collide? Let's look closer at what's being said and what it might mean for Swift, Kelsey, and the NFL moving forward. On social media, many fans have embraced the crossover, arguing it brings new audiences to football, but others accuse the networks of overplaying the story, cutting to Swift repeatedly during games, and using her star power as a ratings boost. This has led to complaints from longtime football fans who feel the focus is drifting away from the sport. Then there's the commercial side. Ticket sales and merchandise linked to the Chiefs have reportedly skyrocketed. Swift's presence alone has measurable economic impact, a fact the league is unlikely to ignore. But with money comes questions. Are genuine relationships now being turned into marketing tools? Finally, there's Swift's own image. For years, she's carefully managed her brand, balancing personal life and professional success. Now, every glance at the stadium box is dissected, every cheer turned into a headline. Some wonder if the constant spotlight could backfire, creating fatigue among audiences. Whether you see it as harmless fun or a media circus, one thing is clear. This moment says as much about our culture as it does about Taylor Swift. The only question is, how long will the spotlight last before the narrative shifts again?